All right, bypassing the pleasantries, let's dive straight into this explainer. We're going to decode the machinery of a rapidly shifting global power structure. What we're looking at right now is a complete geopolitical chessboard reset, and it's heavily focused on the Indo-Pacific and West Asian corridors. You know, this isn't just your standard diplomacy. We're talking about a ruthless, high-stakes survival game, and the rules, well, they're changing fast.
Let's kick things off with a massive number. $3.5 billion. Now, in the context of the Middle East right now, this isn't just a number sitting on a balance sheet. No, it's actually functioning as a financial weapon. It represents a massive loan repayment demand, which, when you really look at it, is effectively a declaration of diplomatic war. And the target of that financial weapon? It's Pakistan. What our sources are outlining here is a complete and total collapse of Pakistani credibility in the Gulf. This incredibly aggressive debt demand from former allies, it acts as a highly calculated move in this survival game we just mentioned. It basically signals a brand new Cold War dynamic forming between Pakistan and major Gulf powers like the UAE and Saudi Arabia.
Section 1. The Regional Threat Matrix. Let's see how this builds the foundation for our regional threat assessment.
So the contrast here is absolutely stark. On one side, you have the diplomatic freefall of Pakistan, and on the flip side, the absolute, calculated financial dominance of the United Arab Emirates. The UAE is literally leveraging its massive economic weight to completely reshape regional alliances, effectively sidelining the traditional players.
But what's really interesting, and frankly alarming, is the active threat metrics we're tracking right now. Beyond the major Red Sea trade disruptions we've all seen in the headlines and the rise of these radical proxy axes, there's a very specific catalyst forcing nations to completely rethink their defense strategies: the looming, very real danger of Iranian drone swarms.
All of this intelligence leaves us with one cold, stark question regarding the future balance of power. Who controls the Gulf? Truly, who secures vital choke points like the Strait of Hormuz when the traditional power structures we've relied on for decades are just fracturing?
Okay, let's dive into Section 2, Building the Defense Fortress. We're going to look at the military solution forged from all this geopolitical friction.
And this brings us to one of the most fascinating partnerships to come out of this new era. Looking closely at the data between 2020 and 2024, a staggering 34% of Israel's global defense exports flowed straight to India. Think about that. A full third of their entire defense output goes to one single nation.
To put that into perspective, that massive export share translates to over $20 billion in defense flows. That is a colossal scale. This completely shifts the relationship from a simple, buyer-seller dynamic into a deeply integrated strategic alliance. Because, let's be real, you don't spend $20 billion just to buy off-the-shelf hardware. You spend that kind of money to permanently weave your security infrastructures together.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, it maps out as a massive Make in India defense initiative. It starts with Israeli subsidiaries setting up shop to build Barak missiles and drones, right? Then it evolves into advanced radar and laser defense systems. But it hits its absolute pinnacle with the merging of India's indigenous Sudarshan Chakra air defense project with elements of Israel's legendary Iron Dome. It's the ultimate high-tech integration.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the Saffron-Star Brotherhood. Let's examine the personal diplomacy cementing this axis.
We've got to look at February 2026. During a period of massive, intense regional tension, Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes a truly historic visit to Israel. And here's the kicker: Prime Minister Netanyahu completely bypasses all routine protocol just to personally receive Modi at the airport. He wasn't just welcoming a head of state, he was explicitly welcoming him as a brother. From there, they fast-tracked free trade negotiations, and Modi even sat down with the intelligence team behind the counterterrorism thriller series Fauda. That is just a brilliant piece of soft power signaling their shared intelligence objectives.
But honestly, the moment that truly defined the entire visit was Modi's unprecedented address to the Knesset, the Israeli parliament. This is where he grounded all that dry military data we just talked about into very visceral human stakes. He explicitly linked the shared trauma of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks with the October 7th Hamas attacks. He told the room flat out that India stands firmly with Israel against radical extremism.
Yet what's so incredibly impressive about India's geopolitical maneuvering here is their unwavering commitment to pure strategic autonomy. Despite this deep brotherhood with Israel, India manages to remain a highly pragmatic global actor. For instance, they actively endorse the UN Gaza peace plan.
On top of that, they're still maintaining ties with Iran through the Chabahar port project and BRICS summits. They are perfectly, masterfully balancing these super complex relationships without breaking camp or getting boxed into a corner.
And that brings us to Section 4, the Hexagon Alliance. This is the ultimate architectural shift in global power.
Okay, you're going to want to pay attention to this. Intelligence reports are pointing to a newly forged, largely secret coalition called the Hexagon Alliance. And no, this isn't your granddad's coalition. This specific pact locks India, Israel, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Greece, and Cyprus into what we can only call a fortress of necessity. It is completely bypassing all those traditional regional divides to form one unified bloc against these new shared threats.
Because survival in this specific new era, it requires multi-sector dominance. We aren't just talking about weapons here. Beyond joint air shields, this pact is fast-tracking a free trade agreement explicitly engineered to dominate AI, cybersecurity, and agriculture. Think about it. When Red Sea disruptions are actively threatening global supply chains, this alliance is just bypassing the chaos by building a self-sustaining, high-tech economic corridor.
So, we want to conclude this explainer by asking you to really consider the impending geopolitical gravity of this newly forged, completely unyielding world order, with traditional powers collapsing, $20 billion defense fortresses rising up, and secret alliances like the Hexagon literally redrawing the map before our eyes. Who is truly positioned to survive the Great Realignment? It is an absolutely fascinating shift, and we are going to continue analyzing the data as this new West Asian and Indo-Pacific reality continues to unfold.